Hi Year 3 and 4, Mrs Pettifer here. This is the text that we are going to be using this week for our writing, our reading and our history, and it's going to launch our topic as well, which is a topic all about the ancient kingdom of Benin. So this is a historical topic driven by our history knowledge. Now for this video I'm just going to be reading the first couple of pages because they're the ones we're going to want you to have a go at for your reading tasks and your writing tasks. But the rest of the book will be really useful for your history. So I'm going to leave the slides on this video of the rest of the book, but I'm only going to read the first couple of pages. So we begin with, what was Benin? Benin was one of the most important kingdoms in West Africa in the 15th and 16th centuries. It became wealthy through trade with Europe and conquered neighbouring lands. So that little paragraph tells us that it was an ancient kingdom from several hundred years ago, and that it became very, very rich, very wealthy by trading, selling things with other countries and conquering other lands, so taking them over, taking charge of them. Let's look at that blue box, trade. Trade was very important in the Benin Kingdom, as the money earned from trade was used to pay for their large, powerful army. They were able to buy guns from European traders, which put them at an advantage over other people in the area. Benin soldiers also kidnapped people from conquered lands, whom they sold into slave trade. So that paragraph tells us some of the positive things they did, and maybe some of the not so positive actions. Over onto the right-hand page, the Benin bronzes. Benin is famous for its bronze plaques, which hung in the King's Palace in Benin City, the capital city of Benin. These plaques were made by skilled craftsmen. Craftsmen decorated the plaques with images of life in Benin, such as soldiers, traders, and the king of Benin, the Oba. How do we know? As the people of Benin passed on their history through spoken stories, rather than written records, we don't have much written evidence about the Benin Kingdom. However, we can learn a lot about wars, festivals, and palace life from bronze plaques and other artefacts. We can also read reports written by European traders who visited Benin. So those pictures show these bronze plaques. They're amazing, aren't they? So bronze is a type of metal, and they used them to make these images that would hang on their palace walls. And the images would be kind of like posters that we'd have today, I guess, showing different things that went on in their city. So we've got soldiers there, we've got animals. In our history lesson, we're going to be looking really closely at some of these artefacts to see if we can work out a few facts about the life of the kingdom of ancient Benin. Right, next page. The rise of Benin. In roughly 500 years, Benin grew from a scattered community of people to a powerful kingdom. The founders and inhabitants of Benin were the Edo, an ethnic group of people from West Africa. The First Kingdom. In around 900 CE, now CE stands for Common Era, we'd also call that AD, the year of our Lord. So this is happening 900 years after the time of Christ. In around 900 CE, the Edo people started to live together in small family groups. Over time, these groups became a kingdom, named Igo do Miogo Do. It is believed that Igo do Miogo Do was ruled by kings called Ogizos. But as there are no written records about this period, it's hard to know the exact details. Now, it's also hard for me to pronounce those words, because I don't know how they should sound. That's my best bit of research to how those words should be said. But the people who were in that group lived so long ago that it was kind of very difficult for us to be able to read their language in our modern times. So hopefully I did my best. Over to the right-hand page now. Ogizos and Obas. In the 12th century, the Ogizos lost control of Benin. The Edo invited a prince from the nearby Yoruba kingdom to rule over them. The prince's son, Ewika, became the first Oba of Benin. Oba means king in Yoruba. Ewika's son became Oba after his death, and he was followed by more Obas. So there were some tricky words for me to read in there, but it's basically telling us how it was a kingdom and the sons of the kings, the princes, would take over and there'd be battles and changes of rulers in that land. Now, it's worth noticing that at this time in Europe and in our country, the Anglo-Saxon tribes were kind of taking over and ruling the land. So there's lots of similarities and differences that we can learn about in our history, about how life in Africa and life in Europe could be compared. So bottom right corner of this page, a mighty kingdom. Under the rule of the Oba Iwure, oh my goodness, Iwure, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but hopefully you can see the spelling of it for your writing. He ruled circa 1440 to 1480, and Benin grew into a powerful kingdom in that time. This was the beginning of the golden age of Benin. Benin became rich through trade with Portuguese merchants, but they used this money to pay for a large army, which seized land and helped the kingdom to expand. Now down there you can see a diagram of a map. And I'm not sure if you can see those labels very clearly on the video, but it shows where the Yoruba people and the Edo people lived. They were kind of neighbouring groups of people. And it shows roughly where in Africa we are talking about. Now, if you looked at a modern day map, that area would be what's called Nigeria now, and then to the east of it would be the country of Ghana, which we know so much about because of the school we are helping to support in Ghana. So this part of the world is quite familiar to us really, and hopefully in our history and maybe our geography we can research a bit more about this topic. This topic's going to last us for all of the half term, but this text is just for this week. We're going to look at a narrative about Benin next week. Next page. Benin City. There are almost no remains of Benin City, the capital city of the Benin Kingdom. Most of what we now know comes from accounts written by the European visitors from the 15th century onwards. A magnificent city. European visitors were very impressed by Benin City. Most European cities at that time were cramped and dirty, while Benin City was grand, spacious and clean. Reports from the time described streetlights fueled by palm oil and drains in the road to carry away excess rainwater. One visitor wrote that crime was so rare that most houses didn't even have doors. Now again, if we're comparing this to life in Europe, with the Anglo-Saxon raiders and invaders, I'm pretty sure most of our houses had doors at that time because we were kind of scared of being invaded and crime and all sorts of things. So loads of research we can do there. Right-hand page. Palaces and houses. All buildings in Benin City were made from clay. The Oba lived in a vast palace at the centre of the city. Inside the palace there were large courtyards and pillars decorated with hundreds of intricate bronze plaques. Ordinary people lived in large houses with many rooms. They decorated their walls by polishing the clay and cutting horizontal lines into them. High walls. Benin City was surrounded by tall earth walls, which helped the inhabitants to defend their city. The walls also continued beyond the city limits, dividing the surrounding area into small villages. In places, these walls were 20 metres high. Right, so that's all I'm going to read from this book, but I've photographed the rest of the pages, or rather Miss Firth has, so that you can read them if you want to by pausing the video. But hopefully that's enough to help you with your reading and writing tasks this week. Okay, bye for now.